Today we are going to see how to set up a CDC from PostgreSQL to Snowflake on Kubernetes. So for set up the PostgreSQL to Snowflake CDC, I have used PeerDB. So PeerDB helps us to set up the CDC from PostgreSQL to Snowflake. So before PeerDB, I have set up the Division plus Java setup. So what happened in Division plus Java setup is right from Division, and Division takes the data, the tables content from the Java and from Postgres, and from Postgres it is stored in the Java topics, and from Java topic we have a connector from Java to Snowflake that insert the data from the Java to the Snowflake DB. So the problem I have faced in that setup is like it was storing on the basis of log, like it will not delete the rows in the destination table. Like suppose what I am trying to say is like when someone update or do any delete operation in the Postgres table, then it's not proper mirroring in the Snowflake table. It's like earlier content is also there, a new row is going to be added, and it's deleted is equal to true, its content like deleted is equal to true, or OP is equal to read or update, something like that. So we are not getting a proper mirroring. So it's like it was like soft delete, it was not doing the hard delete, so it was not works. So what we have decided to set up the Java PeerDB. Java PeerDB also supports the hard delete and all. Okay, so why PeerDB? One tool replace all 6 components like growing log, those deleted row, that hard delete, manual config per table. We don't in Snowflake in Division we also have to manual config the tables and all. Okay, and 24/7 the snow pipe is running, so it was taking that much of cost in terms of DBGM and other what I have explored, but it was not like that. So little bit, not 100%, it was but I as per my expectation, but yeah, a little bit more good than compared to others setup. So PeerDB have 2 versions, like open source and enterprise. So earlier enterprise was paid like every software, but once the ClickHouse purchased the PeerDB, occupied the PeerDB, then they made the PeerDB that enterprise setup for free, like, and it also support the Helm for Kubernetes. So it was very good. The normal version, the open source, is having the Docker Compose, not the Helm chart and all. So it was very difficult to set up on Kubernetes, like converting Docker Compose and into the proper YMLs and all. So but the enterprise already provided the Helm chart, so using that we can do. So once you can see, so it was now the PeerDB was acquired by ClickHouse in July 2024. As part of acquisitions, we are making public the repository that contains the Helm chart used to deploying our enterprise offerings. So it was like more beneficial for us to set up easily the PeerDB on the Kubernetes cluster. So for set up the Division, we have that much of system. From Postgres we have Division CDC that stores on the Java topics. From Java topics, for the schemas and all, we are using API query or schema registry. Why this we have used? Because every payloads or message contains the schema and all, the storage growing very large, the Java topic size growing very big. So that's why we have used that schema registry to store the schema registry at once, so that not repeated in every message and all. And also we have used compress LZ compress, so that the message size will be very less, so our Java topic is not growing very large. So earlier about division plus after setup is Postgres to after topic and schema registry there where schema is registry, and from there the Snowflake sync connector takes the schema and the message from the after topic and insert into the Snowflake database. Okay, but in PeerDB the architecture is like Postgres. From PostgreSQL it was goes to PeerDB, and from PeerDB it stores the Snowflake. We don't have any after and all. So why PeerDB we already discussed what problems we solved that we are facing in other connectors or other CDCs. So as the pre-enterprise is already having the Helm chart, so we are going to use Helm enterprise only. It was free also, so no issue to use that. So architecture we are setting up like we have Kubernetes cluster. So on our cluster we create the namespace for that. Then we are going to follow the instruction as per the document, and then we set up the step by step the PeerDB on our cluster. Okay. So prerequisite here, your Postgres having logical replication enabled, publication created, and the Snowflake user role schema warehouse created. In Snowflake you have to create the user, assign the role for the user, you have to create the schema on which schema you have to store your database, and you have the warehouse that compute and all required for storing, insert and all operations. So warehouse and all. Okay. And for connecting with the Snowflake you require the peer file or security file, so that RSA key peer file, so you have to generate it first. And on Kubernetes dedicated node pool with level 100. It's not like if you don't want a dedicated node pool, then also works fine, but in some scenario if you create a dedicated node, then it will be more good. Okay, so first start for setting up the PeerDB on cluster, you have to first start with your Postgres. What you have to check the wall level, whether your wall level is enabled or not. So once the replication is enabled, then you create the publication on your Postgres. Okay, like what I have done is created is PeerDB publication. Then you can verify the publication is created or not, like select start from PG publication. And from the Snowflake side, what you can set up is you can create a role and all this the secret key and all RSA key pair you can assign. Then you can create database, you can assign the role to use the database, so that PeerDB role can access that database, the schema and all. Okay, so grant role and all you have to give the permission. And then PeerDB also having one PeerDB internal schema, so you also have to give this internal schema. This was used by the PeerDB. It was not like in this schema your table is going to be down. It was the internal schema required by the PeerDB to check so that PeerDB can keep the track. So for tracking purpose only this was used by the PeerDB. Okay. So how to create the RSA key pair for Snowflake? So like that you can create open SSL you can use and follow the steps to create the key pair for the Snowflake, and then assign to that user using this command create user PeerDB user RSA public key, so to your public key dot you have created from this step. Okay, so on Kubernetes dedicated node, it was all up to you. You have to keep the dedicated node or you have to use the existing one only. It's no problem in that. So if you keep the dedicated node, then all your ports and everything is going to be on one node, so it was going to be more good. Like as I can show on this PeerDB, like all are on the same node, so it was little bit more good to manage. Okay, nothing else. So start with the PeerDB setups. So first you have to clone the repo of the PeerDB that we have, PeerDB enterprise. From here you can, okay, you have to clone this repo. Then inside that, in the all this structure you are going to see, like you can see the PeerDB enterprise also I have also cloned. So inside that you can see the PeerDB, main PeerDB Helm chart. Inside that values.yml, value.customer.yml. You can override the node, resource, temporal host and all. Then here the catalog is a catalog Postgres Helm chart, internal DB used by the PeerDB, so that he takes the data from your Postgres to his own internal catalog, and from here they have stored into the Snowflake. Okay. So in this, if you want to modify, you can add the taint and toleration for the node selector and all. That's totally fine. Then install catalog.sh file, you can see here. So script to deploy the catalog is the that we have discussed here, catalog Postgres Helm chart. And then the install PeerDB.sh script to deploy PeerDB. Then you can see the values underscore catalog.sh generate secret value for catalog, and value PeerDB.sh generate secret values for PeerDB. For somewhat I cannot see, so the proper env, like you can see the env template here, the Postgres host and these all things, and the PeerDB catalog database and all these are going to be okay. So fine. So step 2, the fresh repo bug. So once you program the fresh repo, while set up the this PeerDB, what issues I have found, like without this patch, catalog pod schedules on the drone node, they don't start. So so yeah, what I have told, if you want your dedicated node, so you have to edit all these in this file to edit catalog postgres cluster.yml. Okay. Okay, then you have to configure the env. Env I have already mentioned, configure the envs and all. Then configure catalog values.customer.yml for the pod and all, taint toleration, whatever you have to add. Configure PeerDB values.customer.yml. In that also, in there, like we have so many YMLs, like for the peer catalog, for the catalog, and for the other PeerDB setups. So we have other YML. So in all that we have to add the taint toleration and all. Okay. Then you temporal you have to add. Then most critical setting, fits the temporal host. Temporal host is as per your namespace and all, like your namespace that you have created for the PeerDB. Then the space is .cluster .local, the cluster URL and all you have to. Okay, by default they have some other namespace, so you have to change as per your own namespace. Then we have to start your installation. Then install the catalog. Once you install the catalog, then install the PeerDB. Okay, you can apply the source.env and then install. Okay, the source.env you have to patch with the sh files and all. Okay, while installing a catalog also the same, you have to use the source.env and then install catalog.sh install. Okay, then update UI URL. So every time as you shift, the URL is going to be changed. Okay, so once the UI setup is done, you can see some. Okay, so Postgres and Snowflake, I have created the peer. You have to create the peer. Peer means from the database, from where to where you have to connect the CDC. Okay, so like I have created one Postgres. So like if you have to create the new peer, then you have to set which database. You have to add the name, host and port and user, password, database, and the database. Then it is TLS is not that much important. Okay, and then if you are on the same cluster, then you can use the cluster URL itself. Otherwise you have to use the load balancer IP or something like that. Okay, that's totally fine. Once you create the peer, similarly you can create the peer for Snowflake. Like you can see the Snowflake warehouse also is up here. You can add this name, account ID of your Snowflake username. Then you can upload the private key that we have created and uploaded. then you have to name the warehouse that it was going to be used, the database, then the role, what the role you have created and assigned to the user, like that. So once you created the two databases, configure the two databases, then you can create the mirror. Once you created the peers, you can create the mirror. In mirror I have already one running, so you can create a new mirror where you can select, you can give the name for the mirror like demo, and source where is Postgres, destination Snowflake. Then you can initial copy, okay, that all the data already in the Postgres that was going to be copy into the your Snowflake DB, okay. Then you can change it to soft delete, so that it was due to the hard delete. Otherwise it was same, the hard delete was not going to be happen, no proper mirroring and all of the Postgres into the Snowflake, okay. Then you can see the public. Here you can see all the tables that are in your Postgres, and you can select all. Either you can change, here you can add the target schema in Snowflake, what target schema you want to set up, like you in Postgres you want some different schema name like PeerDB schema or capital public, small public, like that. Either you can change it from here, or more applicable you can change it from here as well, okay. This was a target table, so target table is in our Snowflake, so you can change it from here something like other you can do, okay. So like that, once you create the mirror, then the mirror is going to be happen. I have already done, so I am not doing that, okay. So you can also check the logs and all logs. That's fine. So like that, you can set up the PeerDB CDC from Postgres to Snowflake, okay. And here you can see all the pods and all data is running, catalog, pods, flow API, and the PeerDB UI and all. And you can check your secrets and all here, and you can services and all you can also find. So like that, you can set up PeerDB for set up the Postgres to Snowflake CDC. So that's it for this video. If you like, then hit the like and subscribe button.